Just give it one moment for everyone to come in from the waiting room. As a reminder, please mute yourself unless you are testifying before the board. Please also ensure that you can turn on your audio and your video, as you will need to be sworn in during this hearing. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Monday, April 5th, 2021. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing will be recorded and will be posted to the city of Boston's website. Before we begin, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning. I'm Kathleen Joyce. I'm Chair of the Licensing Board. Thank you all for joining us today. Also with us today is Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon and our license premise unit. Thank you.
Thank you. I will read each item into the record on the order it appears on the agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee. Again, please ensure you can turn your audio and your visual on. I will then ask who will be testifying on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and I will then swear all parties in. At that time, the police report will be read into the record, after which the licensee will have an opportunity to make a statement, followed by questions from the chairwoman and commissioners. Calling Annette Mercogliano, doing business as Mike's Pastry, located at 300 Hanover Street. The date of the incident is April 4th, 2021. Failure to adhere to COVID-19 operational requirements, including failure to social distance and permitting a line to form outside the license premise. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Good morning, Leslie. Daniel Toscano. I represent Mike's Pastry. On the line with us today is Joseph Papa, who is one of the owners of Mike's Pastry and the son of the licensee, Annette Mercogliano. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Joseph, could you please turn on your video?
I was trying to walk him through this morning, so hopefully he's able to do it.
Right, well,
and I'm the IT guy, so.
No worries. Who on behalf of the Boston Police Department will be testifying?
I will be.
Detective Hernandez. And are there any other individuals with personal knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, if need be.
Thank you. Attorney Toscano, we will trust you that when I ask your client to raise his right hand, he will do so.
Okay, thank you.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, please proceed with the police report.
Good morning. I'll be reading from a police report, which I authored on Saturday, April 3rd, 2021 at about 9:45 p.m. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the licensed premise unit, were performing checks of bars and restaurants during the COVID-19 emergency. While walking up to Mike's Pastry, located at 300 Hanover Street, detectives noticed a long line of patrons waiting to enter the establishment. The line extended from their front door to Prince Street. As detectives walked up to the front door, detectives observed a large group of patrons that had formed inside the bakery. Patrons were waiting to make purchases, but were still standing next to each other with no social distancing. Detectives reiterated the importance of the governor's COVID guidelines and Boston's licensing board advisory of maintaining at least 6 feet away from other patrons and not having any lines of patrons. Detectives brought this to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Angelo Papa. Mr. Papa stated he would bring the establishment into compliance. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 067723. This notice was for failure to adhere to the governor's COVID guidelines and the Boston's licensing board advisory of no social distancing between patrons. Mr. Papa signed for and accepted the notice. That is all.
Thank you. Attorney Toscano, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, thank you. So Mike's Pastry needs no introduction. It's been in business since 1956 in the North End of Boston, the famous Mike's Pastry, and has been a valuable asset to the community and to our local organizations, to our programs, whether it's hockey, soccer, baseball, etc. Oh, there's Joe Papa. You got your video working. Thank you.
I did.
All right.
And I had my hand up.
Okay, thank you. So the policies for Mike's Pastry during this COVID-19, and they've been in 100% compliance. They have established lines for their establishment. As everybody knows, it gets really crowded in there. They have lines that are roped off. The floor has markings for 6 feet apart. And they have staff people that are on the floor that directs people into the lines. This weekend was the first weekend of opening of outdoor seating, as the board knows, so it was very hectic out there. And honestly, I spoke with Joseph Pupper, I spoke with Angelo Pupper. It actually, the North End was very busy Saturday night, and I know detective and the sergeant were out there. I was out there during the day, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, it was very busy. Honestly, it just got away from them. Being the first weekend open, they let their guard down, and it got busy. Angelo Papa, who's there probably 80 hours a week, who's Joseph's brother, one of the other owners of Mike's Pastry. He works from Wednesday to Monday. He's there 80 hours a week. He immediately got it into compliance. I was out there yesterday. They had the lines roped off again. They have the floor markings, and they will do, especially on the weekends, if it does get crowded. We hope people still come to the North End and enjoy. We'll have extra staff inside the establishment trying to direct them to proper lines. We would like to ask the board if it's okay. Last year, Mike's Pastry did not take advantage of having tables set outside, as they don't have tables inside, just so people they used to. So would it be possible, Madam Chair, members of the board, to have tables set outside, utilize this space to control some of the lines that go into Mike's Pastry, so people who don't wait alongside of the building? The second option we're hoping is, if it's okay, do we mark the sidewalks going out? Because most of the people come out the front door and go down towards Prince Street, as the detective had mentioned. Can we mark the sidewalks? The only problem is, once you get past a certain area, Mike's Pastry does not own the property, and it's owned by another owner. So those are maybe my suggestions. I don't ever see an issue with Mike's Pastry moving forward, as Angelo Pupper is on site every day but Tuesday. So if not Angelo, then Joseph is there, and there's another sibling that also is present. So that's what I would say. I'm at respectfully asking, because Mike's has never had a complaint, has never had been not in compliance with COVID, like a valuable asset to the neighborhood. I'm asking that this board really consider a warning in this case. And I understand, Madam Chair and members of the board, that COVID is very serious, and we really need to take this serious. And I think Mike's have done a great job, given the fact that they're a very popular place. And it's really one of the first weekends that they experienced the crowd, and it was really busy. And they simply let their guard down, and they take full responsibility. So happy to answer any questions. Joseph's on the line. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is an example of your success is both a blessing and a burden, especially during COVID. So we do have to come up with a way to figure out how to control those lines outside as well as inside. Do you currently have space marked out for the outdoor dining area, or no?
There is none.
Okay.
So last year, they could have had some tables marked off. They had no tables out there, and
Right.
most of the folks use it. There was kind of like motorcycle parking in there and bicycles, but they didn't use it for tables or anything. But if it's okay, I mean, if it would help, we would like to put tables to maybe help with the lines.
So tables for people to sit, or just to help with the line?
So,
We don't, go ahead.
so we no longer do table service in the store. We are strictly a takeout operation. It's going on 2 years now. Last year, we didn't take advantage of the outdoor space. Became a burden.
Yeah.
A lot of motorcyclists come in. We have the cigar bar next door. They smoke cigars. It stinks up the store. They start their bikes. The exhaust comes in. So my brother and I discussed doing something, even if we put tables just for people to sit, where we're not serving them, because we don't serve drinks anymore. We would just leave the tables there and then clean up. And then when this happened, my brother and I discussed the potential of maybe utilizing that area for the lines. Not that, you know, not that it's going to be able to control the lines in and of itself, but it certainly gives us more area to use so
Yeah.
that we can get more people in that area. We have struggled because this was so late coming with finding barriers. But I think we've resolved that as well. And hopefully early this week, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, we will have the barriers in place and we can start from there.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest you actually, or your attorney, go online and apply through our portal for the outdoor dining space, because we have to track it and make sure it's properly approved by multiple city departments, BTD.
We have applied.
One.
We
You
have
have
applied.
applied. So you have been
Yes.
approved, but you just didn't use it. Is that right?
We struggle to get the barriers.
Okay,
It's a terrible timing. Easter week, Easter
I
week
know.
doesn't start on Saturday for us. It starts probably 2 Mondays ago.
okay. And I would almost suggest on some of these busy nights, instead of putting tables and chairs out there, put ropes to help with the
Yes.
lines zigzagging in and out. I think that, I mean, it's not going to solve your problem, but it might
Right.
reduce the crowds on the sidewalk.
Right.
So how many staff do you normally have on a busy night like Saturday night?
I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, upwards of 8 or 9.
Okay, so you're gonna have to figure out what kind of staffing needs are required to control the line, both inside and outside. I know you can't control the entire city block, but there's gotta be somebody outside telling the crowd to come back in an hour, come back in an hour. Because we can't have the lines going down the street like that again.
Okay. Listen, whatever we need to do, we're gonna do. We're not deniers. We take this very set. I'm vaccinated. The one problem, and I just want to share this with you. A lot of times last year during the summer when we got busy, people get a little violent. We can't always have a guy out there, and I don't want to fight with everybody in the street. So the staff might be my brother and 9 girls, and he sends one of the girls out, and someone's pretty much telling her to go to hell. And it gets difficult. And I don't want to be calling BPD every 5 minutes to come down. It's just not. It's not good for business. It's not the way we are. But again, whatever we need to do, we're going to give it the old college try. We're going to do everything we can to stay in compliance and keep going here.
Okay, so I'd like to see something in writing. I know you're out of town tomorrow, but I'd like to see something in writing either by the end of the day today or first thing Wednesday morning, describing how you'll staff up on nights like on any night that you expect a crowd.
Okay.
How you're going to utilize the outdoor dining space that you've been approved for, and to put into writing how you're going to do crowd control. You can put marks on the sidewalk in front of your space that will help parties stay 6 feet apart. And you're going to have someone go out and I didn't see this as an issue this past weekend, but we see it in other parts of the city, reminding the people waiting to come into your establishment to keep their masks on. We know it's difficult. I would suggest reaching out to BPD when on a night like that and putting them on alert that there might be, a bigger crowd than normal, and they can come down and work with you. And they're not going to, I've never seen them, ruin the vibe of a place just by asking patrons to move along. We have to do it. It's a different time. Detective Hernandez or Sergeant Gallagher or Lieutenant Troy, do you have any comments or suggestions?
Well, there were no markings on the floor. There was like 50 people inside there, and they were on top of each other. And there were no stanchions, no ropes, no anything. It was a free-for-all inside there. So, that's what caused the line, and they were just backed up because you couldn't even move inside. We had to, push our way through to get to the front. So,
Yeah, so
Right.
there definitely has to be marked.
not just outside.
Right, there were for Saturday, there wasn't, and that's what I suggested. They let their guard down for Saturday night, and with the opening of the outdoor space, they let their guard down and take full responsibility. They were back. I went there on Sunday, so they're back in compliance.
Yeah, they have had stanchions there in the past. I was thinking maybe if there's a limit to how many people can actually be in the store at a time, because that might cut down on some, if you get 50 people in there, like Detective Hernandez was saying, they're not going to be able to social distance. So, hey, listen, we can only have 25 people in here at one time placing an order. That might help, but then you're gonna have to have someone at the door that's pretty strong with saying, hey, listen, we've got too many people, you gotta wait a second. And
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
well, it's not a problem, but it's a problem we can take care of.
Yeah.
What is our capacity where we are strictly a takeout facility?
The CV license has a very low capacity of 15. And when I was talking to your brother, it was kind of like, hey, that's just what we had for patrons
Seating.
sitting down.
Correct.
So there is no number that I think we have that we can say, yeah, you can have 25 or 35. That would be like the licensing board or the fire or ISD would come in and take a look at your premise and go, you can comfortably have X number of people here and they can put a number on it. But yeah, that's not.
You have to put marks on the floor. There's bakeries in my own neighborhood and people are standing outside the night before Easter, like way into the parking lot waiting to get in. There's probably 10 people allowed in at a time. Unfortunately, you're going to have to find one entrance and one exit, and it has to be a line that goes through with marks. You can't have 50 people inside.
Just
at any time.
6 feet.
It has to-
markings.
Yeah, no, I understand all that. I was just wondering if there was actually a number, but there are markings on the floor. We have the circles that say 6 feet, 6
then
feet away from each other.
And somebody has to enforce that.
Sure, I understand that.
A lot of this is, ultimately it's a responsibility of the licensee, but a lot of it is
Of course.
cooperation from the public. So having somebody outside explaining to the public, you're not allowed in right now. It's the world we're living in right now. It has to
understand.
be done. It's happening throughout the city. It has, especially in this neighborhood with the density of restaurants and the people doing outdoor dining, you're going to have to come up with a creative way to control the crowd.
Absolutely. Thank you. We will.
Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
I just want to comment, I think you need to consider, pushing more sales online, pre-order. Everyone who comes up to your restaurant, if there's a line, they all have a phone in their pocket. You need to be able to tell them to take a walk for a little while, maybe take down their number and tell them a time to come back. Give them a number when they leave, like a deli style. I mean, you guys are very popular, but like the chairwoman said, it's a blessing and a burden. And also I kind of don't understand how these, Saturday night before Easter and outdoor dining, I mean, it should have been quite the opposite. You shouldn't have been taken by surprise. You should have been more ready than any other night where you would get a sudden crowd.
Well, I mean, I think it was the first Easter weekend is very busy in the bakery. However, it wasn't like that last year when the pandemic hit. And this is probably the first time they've seen the numbers like they've seen in a whole year. So, but I agree with you, right? The anticipation for Easter, that they would be busy. They do have a successful online business as well. But yeah, definitely then the neighborhood was very busy. So we're definitely obviously looking forward. Summer's coming, warmer weather. We'll be on top of it.
And one more comment about calling BPD. Just my reasoning would be, I think you need to call them early if someone's getting quote unquote violent. And believe me, there's other people in that line who want someone to intervene. For every person who's squawking at you, they're unhappy. Other people are standing there listening to that person unhappy, and they're uncomfortable with that person being unhappy, hoping that somebody does something about them.
I agree.
Thank you. Chairwoman Joyce, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I make a motion. I see a violation. I make a motion for a warning.
I second and agree.
I agree.
Right, so the board issues a warning, and as the chairwoman noted, you will submit a written plan to the board for its review.
All right, we'll get that out ASAP. Madam Chair, members of the board, Detective Sergeant, great to see you folks. Leslie, good to see you. Thank you for the rest
Thank
of the
you.
day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be safe, folks.